People bang pots and pans in the Cuban capital of Havana on Saturday night. Elsewhere, another small protest over a deepening power crisis. People block a street with trash. Cuba's electrical grid collapsed again on Sunday, leaving millions of people without electricity. It marked the fourth such failure in 48 hours. People mulled over what to do as they lined up for bread.
Mal, muy mal, porque sin corriente no tenemos nada.
It's bad, very bad, because without electricity, we have nothing, this woman said. The communist-run government canceled school through Wednesday, a near unprecedented move for Cuba. It pointed to both the energy crisis and Hurricane Oscar, which bore down on the island on Sunday and could make the situation even more complicated. In her old Havana home, Annabelle Gonzalez says she's been without power for 3 days, and her food supply is dwindling.
Tengo el teléfono apagado, el refrigerador.
My cell phone is dead, and look at my refrigerator.
Todo echado a perder.
The little that I had is all gone to waste, she said.
Lo que tengo es esta.
Energy and Mines Minister Vicente de la Oleve told reporters that he expected the grid to be fully functional by Monday or Tuesday, but warned residents not to expect dramatic improvements. The government has blamed weeks of worsening blackouts on deteriorating infrastructure, fuel shortages, and rising demand, as well as the U.S. trade embargo and sanctions, which it says hamper efforts to get fuel and parts to run the plants. The U.S. denies a role. The island does not produce much crude oil, and foreign countries have cut exports. Cubans line up at a bakery in Old Havana, trying to make do without power. Most of the island's 10 million people still don't have it. State-run media says the national grid collapsed twice within 24 hours. We're used to enduring everything in life because we can't do anything else, says this man. On Saturday, the government said it's making progress in reestablishing service, including to hospitals and parts of Havana. The country's top electricity official said the grid operator was trying to boost capacity in the system to get several plants going and bring power back to broader parts of the country. He did not directly confirm the second grid collapse, creating some confusion about what actually happened. Even before the collapse, an electricity shortfall forced the communist-run government to send non-essential state workers home on Friday and cancel school. For weeks, blackouts have been getting worse across much of the island, sometimes lasting up to 20 hours a day. The government blames deteriorating infrastructure, fuel shortages, and rising demand. Cuba does not produce much of its own crude oil, and this year Venezuela, Russia, and Mexico all reduced exports to the country. Officials say strong winds that began with Hurricane Milton last week complicated fuel delivery. Cuba also says the U.S. trade embargo and sanctions under former President Donald Trump make it harder to get fuel and parts to run its oil-fired plants. The U.S. has denied a role in the collapse.